themselves, despite having a pretty poor record on it, let's be frank. I know Cloud9's been criticized for their Inferno, by a lot of people, myself included. Then we've got Vertigo, obviously, for Cloud9, and then Overpass is the remainder. And I think we're about to go live with the match as well, right into that Inferno. Michael, I don't like C9's Inferno, but I'm worried about what NiP have to offer here.
Yeah, especially when you've got Overpass and Vertigo as other maps in the series. Both are first selections for Cloud9 very typically. So, yeah, they're kind of in a sticky situation here, and NiP needs to justify this pick by taking it. It feels like a must-win in this series.
nafany fully blinded out, but Alexi's gone nonetheless. Buster is obviously here with 2 more. You've got a full mid stack coming through with 4 focused over, but Hobbit's demise frees up the banana. Axel still fighting back in middle, is able to keep Rez out at bay. Shiro long range, tag down. Axel switches out, and the bomb is hightailing it back towards the B bomb site. Smoke will be interrupting their procedure back to the B site themselves, so Shiro instead tries to work the wraparound.
Oh, God. If Axel holds this smoke, it is a pivotal duel, but the fact he's taken so long just means that Shiro's on an island by himself, and so if Config finds this kill, this round might just certainly be done. Axel's so detached from the action, and sure, 2 kills is nice, but they can play this 2-on-1 by just buying time. No kit available for Axel.
Just have to hide away and you're good to go. Axel at this stage might even be considering going back and saving the Kevlar. Not necessarily the most high value, but whatever, man. You're getting nothing from the round. At best, a kill or 2, and that could be lining up here. We'll be able to pick up the extra 600. So yeah, at least it's consolation in the form of 4 frags for Axel, but he'd really have loved it if a few more of those frags had come through with maybe some of his teammates.
Yeah, it felt like a risk had to be taken if they were going to take that long. Effectively, you know, Axel holding that smoke for the longest time while Sheer was on an exploration. It was a good read from NiP after they were thrown into a very chaotic, very hectic situation, just gunning it towards that B bomb site, calling the all clear, and effectively calling the bluff that they knew where both these players were.
Yeah, Hobbit's demise was just instantly reacted to. Really nicely done from Alexi, if that is the man who went for the call, which, you know, I presume it is.
Well, not the way they wanted to start, but because of those extra kills, Axel has got himself into a M4, so it's not as though this buy doesn't have some merit. Shiro's Scout, certainly a solid player on it.
Gotta say, Michael, this is going to be interesting. Yesterday, NiP really struggled up against the half buys. OG was able to give it to them like nothing else. So they have to be able to get out some of these cleaner here and now. Good tag. Hobbit's got the frag. Config around the corner will be able to follow up. But nafany late on the 5-7. Can't actually find more than one. Rez with the double entries as well. And he had a few great rounds yesterday on the Galil as well. But looking good already.
Oh, man. And, you know, you look at that perspective there from nafany. If he gets one headshot there, you know, they're lined up. They're not focused on him. If he gets one headshot, he gets both kills there. And suddenly he's just in a position where he can effectively win the round by himself. For him to only get away with one, it does feel like NiP have dodged a bullet. And hell, it was a little hairy in there, but NiP will be satisfied keeping at least these 3 alive. They don't let the big bad monster that plagued them through that OG series strike early here on Inferno. Flash timing was great as well from Cloud9.
Yes.
They were really teed up for success, just cannot bring it over the line. And this is where we will have to, I think, fixate on players like nafany and Buster when it comes down to later into this game. Buster under, you know, not really his fault, but under criticism for, oh, he's not really an upgrade over Inters. But, you know, I think from the ESL Pro League interviews that we were able to catch, they really enjoy having him in because he's a very cool, calm, collected player when it comes to hectic situations. You ask him to do something, he won't hesitate in doing so. And, you know, that feels very much in line with our expectations of who he is as a player, you know, under the in-game leadership of James, who always had him operate as just one of the soldiers as a part of his master plan. You know, if he's willing to be that same guy for Cloud9, but also, you know, when it comes to retakes and clutches, it does feel like he goes in with almost no fear. You know, even if Axel or Shearer are dead, Buster is going to be just as assertive as if they were still alive as well.
So the way I'd put it is, if you were wanting to play football with a team of CS players, there'd be a 2-a-side, and then Buster would be made the ball. That's the kind of role he's been given.
I don't know. I don't even know what that analogy is supposed to mean.
He gets kicked around, you know, for the joy of the team, for the betterment of the team, so that everyone can function. But he is, at the end of the day, being kicked around, and you can't really blame him if the ball goes out into someone else's yard, and then they come scolding you that now, whatever, childhood memories. But now they're heading into a stack, and Axel Hobbit has started off very well. Axel, though, losing out that A4, so you're reliant on Buster. The ball is fighting back, but now has been removed from the field. 2-on-1, nafany. Just a USB, maybe there's a recoverable M4, but even that seems unlikely.
There's an AK on short, should be. That was dropped by the D of Buster. nafany, does he know? Doesn't seem like he does. Maybe even just concerned about giving information about where he's coming from, dropping that Galil over. I think it's finally... Come on, somebody tell him. They're not even guarding it. Well... He's called it quits. No chance that he could have made this round more interesting. Maybe just going for some extra damage. There is a buy around the corner, and they've done some decent damage in rounds gone by. Brolan needs to escape into pit, but will deal with the threat. Now can sit himself inside this corner, and even if the bomb did go off, they wouldn't have struggled to survive with those weapons. So 3 in a row here from NiP, and some close shaves along the way, but now Cloud9 in with a full buy.
Brolan was also kind of killing it yesterday on some of those spray transfer rounds, so I was very impressed by what he had to offer.
Oh man, I mean, NiP, you think about the names they've got in terms of, a rifling core, Rez, Brolan, Config. Really sky's the limit for this trio. All individually on separate rosters, once upon a time touted as the next big thing, and just incredible star power, but we've yet to see that really culminate on this NiP squad in hit in full force.
Oh, great dodge on the flashbang. Don't think it would have blinded it nafany anyway, but looked like just making sure he's not getting any sort of white in his eye. Pushing this through the smoke is always risky. Missed opportunity.
Chance. Yeah, a real chance. Weren't even too aware of apartments being occupied like that. To lose Brolan at the start is a little bit poor, but Config at least trying to make up for it. Rez gone as well. So in spite of them losing that presence over towards long, it's only for a moment's notice. This does look like it's irreversible now for NiP coming into round number 4. Guns are finally out for Cloud9 and able to strike with some presence.
Config was so secure in his kill on the archers, but I think, there's not going to be a second rotator over here, but Hobbit was there to back him up and gets a freebie. That could have been where the round starts to wither backwards if he'd been given access to CT just for free.
And just as a comparison point, this angle that Buster's holding, I don't think I would ever see Inters in a spot like that. The man is
Wasn't
stoic.
Inters
like
playing
a gargoyle.
B?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I mean,
why you'd never see.
Well, no, that is, but it's more about positional control. Taking a risk. Inters and this whole Cloud9 core really came and stemmed from an era where fours were doing much the same, outsiders or I guess Virtus Pro were doing much the same, where they're a very calculated team by the numbers, play percentages. They came from that ethos of Counter-Strike, and to some degree, they still deploy a lot of it. People... I always think when people give so much flack over to Virtus Pro and James Colling style, they also don't realize that it's everywhere. It's what's happened with the economy and the meta shift, and some teams have adopted it, some teams have shunned it, but those that have embraced it have also been able to maintain a decent level for throughout that whole change, throughout the period of this 3 or 4 year time span. So, Cloud9 definitely in that same camp, definitely of that same ethos, and some of that ethos even transferring to NiP in that round, saving those weapons over and buying alongside it. they called it quits after they were in that 4-on-2. Let's see if Cloud9 can chain more than one together. Not a lot of pressure over towards Banana this time over from Cloud9.
Very
got in their face. Maybe expecting the reaction. Nate is decent.
Right, good. Probably expecting the fact that there's going to be less money, so you have to be worried about like a Mac 10 just running and gunning towards you. No.
I don't know who was in charge of those negotiations, but it feels like Alexi is lost out in that trade. Selfless man.
Two flashes going to be ready and prepped up for this B-bomb side. Better be getting Shiro if you don't want to just be taken down by the AWP. He is blinded and taken off of the angle. Alexi flashed up as well. nafany trying to delay. Shiro's been naded. Second one not going to get him. Down to 9, and the Molotov surely should be bringing him down and out, but 3 HP is still what he's got left. A med pack would be nice, but there won't be one coming through. No assistance whatsoever. Cloud9 forced to save, and this is one of the big criticisms of C9 on T side generally, but CT side is very much true as well, which is that if you're not continually fighting for control, or you don't have anyone who's going to be going out to get in for something, you're sometimes just going to have a side collapse take you down.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where playing defensive on the bomb sites can come back to bite you. You know, we see the pace of this execute is so rapid, and you know, we're looking at it from Shiro's perspective. There's not much more he could have done. You know, he's getting flashed off. He goes back to a more defensive position. He's getting naded. He's getting Molotov. He's trying to buy time. And if they're not able to get any impact from nafany in that position, then the round is basically over. You know, he has to be the one that creates space for Shiro to survive for longer and even get a kill with that AWP. But at the same time, you know, they just threw in an aggressive round the previous. And maybe they were expecting more sort of aggressive utility from NiP in terms of taking banana control, but they were relatively uncontested. You know, they throw one molly, one flash, and then just sort of contact their way up. And Cloud9 don't reassert themselves, don't throw retake utility to sort of feign that presence, because they didn't have a quick rotate available. But maybe just not expecting that NiP would go in that direction. Going with another buy, and this time they will have some presence towards topside B. A third man over on that B-bomb side as well. And so this time, NiP's presence at Banana will be heavily contested. nafany even, I think, primed for a flash, a deep peek, and really wanted to hazard a glance, but now revealing that AWP on NiP. They will turn tail and tuck.
This is going to be a very difficult hold towards the A-bomb side if they want to be committing to it anytime soon. You have no mollies, not very few nades, nothing at all basically to be able to stop the assault.
The demon peak there from Brolan. Ahead of the rest of the pack. Frontside smoke again will make it awkward. Makes it crossing into pool a real possibility here for NiP, but no smoke CT. Doesn't seem like they're that committed to traveling into B. That's because they're waiting for config to find anybody on a rotate, anyone through spawn, or maybe even flank through spawn towards this B bomb site. Right now, Cloud9 none the wiser.
Shiro lies in wait. Boost up behind the smoke. Shiro can't find the frag. Brolan just gets him down, and config's gone and got a second as well. B-bomb side occupied, and once again, C9 will be forced back on the save. We're seeing similar things become a pattern, as it is going to just be repeated site hits late into the round when C9 isn't willing to get information. NiP can just wait it out and keep this utility functional for themselves. Buster even falling towards the end of things. It's getting hairy right now.
Yeah, and just a beautifully done execution, you know, throwing that front side smoke, having them play inside of it, throwing coffins as well. You know, we see the reaction playing in front of the smoke. That was the attempt. And yeah, they just get picked to pieces. NiP calling a solid T side so far. Cloud9 will be pushed down into the dumps, but will be offered an option to buy again. But yeah, it does feel like they need to rethink how they're going to approach this side of the map. Right now, I mean, just even allowing the sort of room and the space for Config to be able to wrap through CT. You know, they had to play a two-side setup because they were pretty committed to 3B.
Yeah.
And especially when they lose nafany, there's no way they're pulling another player away if they think the B bomb side is under siege. They've not been doing a good job so far in holding that position.
Yeah, some of the positioning between nafany and his teammates has been a little bit odd at times as well. You know, the nafany-Shiro combination when they were playing together was strange that nafany's playing in the oranges when Shiro's primary retreat path is from there. It's just difficult movement sort of to be able to pull off rather than maybe Secret or Coffins, even CT, anything like that. Does obviously cheat them into thinking that there could be multiple players here, but no, hold the point. Now there's Shiro coming in, head trick, goodbye.
Yeah, he reacted, but just not quite fast enough. Couldn't quite get the full flick. The tag on Shiro instead. And yeah, head trick was struggling against Dexter the other day. Wonder whether Shiro will now see some activation. Hasn't been able to get too much impact when he's had this AWP in hand. But sometimes a change of scenery is all it takes.
Sure, scenery's been changed. It's all on fire now.
And I smoke down as well, so I'm not going to help him have impact.
This is still really doable for NiP though, because they've still got 4 flashes. They're all clustered together, full apartments control, the double players on the bomb sites. You've got Molotovs to work with as well. The only question is, where is this utility going to be used up? Buster, one way being set up for himself, going to try and work off of the angle. Can't spot out the apartments player. Axel, good for one inside the bomb site. He's paired up with Buster so effectively, they're just not able to get onto the site. Axel goes ahead and finds another, and Rez is all alone. No damage dealt so far, and Cloud9 want to keep it that way.
nafany is here and could cut Rez out, but instead of revealing a little too much skin, 22 HP is all that's left on the last remaining NiP player, and they will keep 4 afloat. Able to upgrade away from those FAMASs as well. And the timing on that smoke from Buster could not have been better placed. You saw how it changed the pace, it changed the spacing there for NiP moving into the bomb site. First player comes out, sees that smoke, probably calls it out, and then Config is glued to the idea that he has to deal with that first player just using that one way, abusing it. And that just creates all the more room for Axel to succeed. So yeah, bouncing between each other at a bomb site under lock and key.
Oh, much faster play towards the arches, rather. Just to be able to get some control out over it. Cloud9 with 3 players back in the B bomb set is going to be completely forfeiting that set. Buster, nice nade. That's going to be doing some good damage on Alexi. Looking to re-aggress inside the smoke. Axel's found Rez. That means Buster doesn't have to care about the apartments flank that could be coming through. So he's got Hobbit to come around, pair up this dastardly duo between Buster and Hobbit, or whoever is in arches and Hobbit, is switching back and forth, making it so difficult to scale up.
Yeah, considering there was so much presence over at B as well, Berlin was running interference, and they were really hoping that they couldn't pull off this rotate, but just because they were able to accomplish that so smoothly after throwing the initial B-side utility, yeah, Config gets caught off guard. He was trying to capitalize on that Archers player being completely isolated, because especially when they knew Axel was in the apartment, he knew that suddenly Buster was without help, only for it to arrive just in the nick of time. This honestly could be a save call from NiP.
They've got good money behind in terms of cash value on a lot of these players.
Just enough floating cash that makes it easier for them to liquidate into the next round. And so they will. When they've not been able to get access past the brackets, it's been a tough show. Who knew?
I'm really enjoying how Hobbit's been playing so far on the CD side. A couple of these rounds we just, am I in arches? Am I not in arches? What's going on here? You're not going to know.
Yeah, he's the floating player between the bomb sites. You know, he's the one that picks up the slack over on B if Shiro wants to go and take a pick on A. So, a very versatile player for the Cloud9 defense. The pairings are they're pretty cemented aside from that. Just losing the back-to-back rounds. NiP are not impressed. They knew this was going to be a hard game, and, you know, like we were saying earlier on, Inferno is a necessity. Vertigo's been looking good, a map that they frequently pick into, and I don't think have dropped in recent form. And Overpass, another one that they will mark as one of their staples, albeit with some more mixed results. But, you know, these are maps where, you know, I think once upon a time Cloud9 used to even pick into Inferno, but they got comfortable. Same with Mirage. You know, they wanted to deepen their options and punish, and it doesn't always work out. Berlin's tacked a lot of damage by nades, and now nafany just using the fact that Molotov's down. I don't think Berlin could see a damn thing. He didn't react.
I do wish that C9 played Nuke, though. It just seems like their kind of map.
Yeah, well, the major would show otherwise.
Yeah, fair. All right.
That's because they don't bracket, you know?
Hmm.
Who knew that was important?
God, Hetrick's just going to be holding on to this angle for so long, but knowing Shiro, he's never swinging out for that, ever. This is a guaranteed kill being prepped up for Shiro, but the grenade stack that's being prepped up for nafany's position is this. A second one coming through soon. nafany, buddy, you're not feeling too happy about this. Shiro as well backing off, thinking that, is there another airstrike coming through? Maybe it's on my position. Switching out guns with nafany's. Back to the A4 he goes. Seems like it's almost a crime to take the up away from Shiro, to be honest. But now, flashes to fly. He's got the rifle to try. Conflict from behind the smoke. Getting ready to push through, and as soon as they do, prep it up. Config on the lineup just spams him out. Hobbit's gone as well. nafany on the AWP has got to come up and show in a highlight reel what he can do with the rifle. Problem is the flank coming out from Config, and nafany is basically going to be gone. Switching out is on his head. 8 seconds on the clock. They can't plant the bomb. Config, another kill through the smoke found, and now it's a 2-on-3. Buster and Axel looking to save.
What on earth is going on? That has got to be a rattling round from Cloud9. nafany's getting double naded. Shiro getting peered round the smoke. He thinks he's trying to abuse that smoke timing that they have at the entrance of B. It blocks off most of the entrance, but there is a small gap around the edges that, you know, 1 pixel misaligned. Config, that's all the Q he needs to suddenly shoot through it. And once he dies, suddenly this whole site crumbles. You know, Hobbit is not prepared for that pace to suddenly pick up. Such a risk that was taken trying to play close to that smoke in Shiro, but it surely, I mean, that's what NiP were holding for around that smoke. They threw utility themselves. They were ready for that smoke to fade, and just punishing a big mistake. I can't believe he jumped over his head as well. There was actually a way in which nafany gets out of that situation somehow, but he didn't want to give up that site.
I mean, he almost did. Just the Glock through the smoke is what gets him. Gotta say though, man, Config's looking sharp, and if this continues forward, he will be good. Because for me, I'll be honest to the viewers, I just had NiP winning Inferno generally, but Vertigo was always about, hey, what can Config and Brolin do? Because for my money, those are the only 2 players who are gonna drag it through if possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far having a solid game as well, and not just sticking to, you know, standard proceedings. Last time we had Berlin die early into a round, I think very similar to last round. Config immediately took space over towards the brackets, just hoping to capitalize on maybe a misrotation.
Oh,
Berlin this time will get a little bit of revenge. He's been getting abused by utility, by nades. nafany caught with nades out, and NiP will have a man advantage to kick it off.
nafany's been on the worst side of the grenades the past few rounds. Stack back
Can't
over
always rely
towards
on the corner.
A, interestingly enough.
They are still split here. Alexi will regroup with the rest of the squad over at B, just giving Rez some extra util. Fails the silent jump, which is fine. Won't be in the game after the following major, I imagine.
Never know, man. I've been told the movement's going to be changed again by everyone on Twitter. I don't know what their sources are, but hey, because they think so.
This could just get pre-fired, and probably should be.
I mean, Conflict's been very good about those so far. The question is, will he be aware of it? Rez going down towards the A bomb side. It's a peek forward. Brolin doesn't quite get the kill that Conflict would have. At least we think he might have. Hobbit. 3 players to deal with, no flashes. It's all one-on-one duels. Gets the first one, but it's Alexi to overrun and overwhelm. The problem is crossing over will be impossible. Shiro guarding it off, and a second frag for him, easy as can be. Makes it 3 for the round. Rez, of course, his first victim.
Now, they started that round with a man advantage, and it just comes crumbling down. Great kills from Shiro. And then also the fact that Hobbit's able to get that impact around that smoke. Brolin hard cleared for that. You know, he was prepared for a small gap round, but he just couldn't catch that glimpse fast enough. That smoke that was down was just enough of a, I guess, a reaction time advantage that Hobbit needed. And just being able to double up. And, man, Hobbit, what, 28 years of age? So nimble. You know, as soon as he gets that first kill, just darting up onto second oranges, and very hard for them to track that kind of movement from him. You know, usually you get one kill around the smoke, play from first, second, new box even, maybe even transition to dark if you get enough room, but Hobbit took the high ground.
I always thought Hobbit was more than that. So he's 30 or so. In my head, anyone who's like relevant to win a tier 1 event in 2017 has to be 30 now.
And, you know, Hobbit's got a kid as well.
True,
yeah.
True. Some would say 4 more of them, but not by blood.
I mean, Buster's not that young.
Fair. But just because Inters has left the family doesn't mean he wasn't his child at one point, right? That's not how families work, Michael.
I say Buster's not that young. He's only 2 years older than nafany and Shiro.
Brackets being contested only by Shiro, and with 2 players back in apartment, this is Axel's look for exploration. Config wants to phase this, and Axel will be phased himself. Gets the hell out of dodge, does not want to take the peek or the risk with it.
Yeah, a nice little one-way smoke in the apartments that it can punish players that just try and creep through it, you know, running through the middle, but Config knew better, tried to use it to his advantage instead. But a significant lack of pressure over on Banana here from NiP. That retake utility as well is going to spook them slightly. But they've actually committed a rotate. I don't know if Shiro's going to take up a deep position or he's just throwing over utility, but they're going to capitalize on this timing. NiP executing A.
And they want to go for a quick pop out. Axel has to be careful that he doesn't just get caught by a few more flashes. The Tech 9's going to be deadly. Buster, though, on the bomb side, the only player left, and he will not be able to contest. Fantastic read coming out from Alexi over there. They decide as soon as they hear the utility on the retake for B that, hey, if there's going to be time for a rotate to come through, this would probably be it. Let's take the risk on A.
I think that's going to be one of the more confusing rotations from Cloud9 so far. You know, so late into the round to be trying to juggle utility over, albeit they just deployed the retake util. But if they're not going to show presence or at least get some information in that area, then it does feel kind of negligible, or I guess it's the information is kind of, or the retake utility is made redundant effectively by not being able to have a more forward post or being able to lean a certain direction based on a lack of utility sailing back at you. It just felt like Cloud9 wanted to optimize for a B take, and obviously we see the NiP attack A. You know, the timing on that couldn't have been better suited for that attack, and Shiro knew that as soon as that A site was under siege, he just couldn't get involved. He couldn't be a part of the action. You know, his job was holding on to long, and that's not where the attack was coming from.
Well, listen, that is partially the sort of conditioning that we also do know can come into games, right? NiP's been continually attacking the B-bomb side every time the last bits of utility have been used up. C9's probably just worried about that as well. And there's so much that goes into it.
But there wasn't a lot of... The problem is there wasn't a lot of pressure put by NiP on Banana even earlier in the round as well. You know, NiP threw... Or Cloud9 threw that util to take it.
Hold it, Michael, because right now, Shiro holding on. Rez doesn't really want to contest this, but I think he's going to be forced to pretty soon. Flashbang won't matter. Rez wasn't expecting the op on the other side, so even when blind, Shiro is deadly.
And Axal's immediately taken position over at balcony, so Alexi knife out and unsuspecting. Config was getting ready to boost himself up, but Axal, even just round that smoke, deploys on the end of Balk, and Config can't do a damn thing about it. Down to 10 HP and now finished off. Axal 2 kills and doing a whole lot with this SMG.
Wow, that's kind of nuts that he finds that much out of it. Elbow, giving up, this time not a frag. Brolin already got one of those, and now the grenade to try and chase off the Shiro, down to 34. He's lucky he didn't take too much damage before, but in a 2-on-5, these players don't have that much to work off of as far as time is concerned. Headtricks at least got the belt. Molotov for Buster could be flushing him out, but he wants to play the late angle if anything else isn't coming their way. Shiro's locked out of the site. He is back in library, should not be able to continue to provide any support in this situation if they are just going to take the peek forward before he can take the angle, but no. Utility used, they've got no chance of creeping out.
Yeah, very low time, and as soon as there was some utility sailing out, Shiro just took up the angle on the approach through short, so able to have some impact, not just on long duty, really just props to that Axal Shiro setup inside of the apartments. It's one of those things. I mean, you look at Ancient, you know, Shiro and Axal are actually, you know, very quick to correspond off one another. They're often, you know, playing from middle, donut, the A-bomb side, and so they're actually going to be brothers in arms on defenses a number of times, but that's just an aggro setup that is so nice to call at that moment. You know, your 2 stars of Cloud9 able to have so much impact. I think as well, Cloud9 have probably clocked on. You know, they're always going to understand that there's going to be some anti-stratting, some research that's been done, especially when it comes to head-to-heads like this. You know, they just played them yesterday as well. This is an NiP that have come in with a new focus to get revenge because they're out of the showdown. But I think after nafany got double-naded first orange on a very defensive CT setup, you know, they've been trying to mix things up a little bit since then.
It has continued to be a fairly defensive setup on the A-bomb side, though, generally speaking. There's been some points of aggression in through apartments, but brackets hasn't necessarily been the biggest focus. Now, looking to accelerate over towards the B-bomb side. There are pieces of utility available for this. Hubbard has to be careful. Flashbang a little bit late, and it won't be catching him out at all. nafany's here on the cover, gets 3. No return frags whatsoever, and although he does end up falling, it's 15 seconds. Hobbit being pushed in upon. Rez has found the kill, and the farmers can be reloaded as well. Buster, suddenly things are getting a little bit interesting. Headtricks of the M4 as well. Shiro spotted out. Shotgun miss a grenade to go backwards, and Rez is trying to close the distance with the flashbang. He'll be taking the peek forward. Rez, it's a shot that he could find. Headtrick, though, will be left to deal with this all on his own. Shiro, head spotted, but not given. 1-on-2 still continuing. Grenade does soften him up down to the 1 bullet mark. Wants to try thinking of the rotate backwards as well. Shiro's the only one with the kit, so Buster cannot go for the stick. Headtrick wants to go for the spam. Will be unable to find it, though does not commit to the attempt. Instead focuses on the body he could see.
Oh my goodness. I mean, first off, timing on that takeover towards B, perfect from NiP. But they get a little unfortunate. A smoke CT that I think collided with the bottom end of Hobbit's foot. It actually ended up, you know, blooming inside of the floor, as far as I could tell. The smoke was the improper height. And I don't think Hobbit even realized it. You know, he rotated over towards construction to try and support nafany, who was an absolute tank, an absolute hero. Getting those 3 kills had a significant influence on the round. But hold the point, over to short. They're getting super aggro through second middle, and there is just no chance for NiP to do a damn thing against that. They were not prepared for Cloud9 aggression.
Wow. Honestly, that just looked like... I know I'm not doing them justice with the comparison, but that just looked like Lin Vision from China for a second there. Just some insane aggression right down second middle. Easy does it.
Yeah. Really solid idea coming out, and you know, Cloud9 mixing these in as the half has gotten closer and closer, even though, you know, that was a round where theoretically, you know, we're about to tie, we could take the lead to end this half. You know, stakes are raised. They understand that NiP aren't going to be happy with how this one has panned out, considering the good start that they got off to on T side. You know, they've had some solid decisions in there as well, based around the Cloud9 setups. Some good reads on where they're going to be positioned. But even in you know, disregarding all of that, just going, yeah, you know what? Why not? Let's gun it down to second mid. And yeah, that's just the last thing NiP were expecting.
Let's remind everyone that we are some of the best aimers in the world as well.
Yeah, it's not all respect. Not all the way down. This is the thing, you know, through many different iterations of the NiP roster, you know, with their... Everyone's talked about it. You know, constant roster moves they had to worry about. You know, changing in-game leaders. Sometimes not having their in-game leader with them when they go to tournaments, and actually still doing quite well. There's a lot of turmoil going on with, you know, players on this roster. This being solidified and, you know, talked about as being the 5 that NiP are going with. Sort of proceeding into the indiscernible amount of time future does give you some hope, but they also are a team that have to earn the respect. You know, first off, you know, we've kind of talked before about Alexi B and the fact that he was able to get to a major final with Ents, and you know, he's been riding on the coattails of that success for quite some time, and people are still very highly praised about him, given that his, you know, tactically he still comes up with some innovative stuff. He's got some great ideas, definitely a thinking man's IGL, but has yet to show the results for it. You know, this is an NiP that need to grind their way up, earn their respect, and hell, you know, maybe not now, but 1-2 months down the line, win some tournaments. And then suddenly the conversation shifts away from, oh, is this going to work in the long term? Are the riflers going to succeed? Is Alexi B still a good in-game leader? All those conversations quiet down because the evidence is there to support counterclaims.
No, for sure. I mean, look, you've got 2 world-class riflers in Config and Brawl, and I don't think anyone's contesting that. And the head trick, I don't rate him as highly as some of the other people do, but I think he looks like he could be like a bottom of the top 10 opper, maybe like 7th, 6th best opper in the world. That's more than enough to be able to contend at the very least, right?
Yeah.
Last round for them to contend on their T side over here, though. They really want that lead so desperately.
Yeah, Config's been kind of trapped at the 10 kill marker as well for a little bit of time. Got there quite early into this half, but since then has not been able to find as much impact. Maybe not able to get as much room. Exploited some early angles as well on the C9 setups, and since then they've been majority playing 3A. Caroline very liberal about his approach over towards Banana, but immediate retake utility to try and show presence.
Thing is, the CTs don't have the secondary Molotov available because the T's have blocked it off with their own smoke, so now this should get interesting. They've denied information on pretty much any side of the map on NiPs. The C9 have to go for the play individually or instinctively. Buster, second smoke comes out. They want to try and catch him out, and they will spot him as he does double back through the smoke. Config's got his dry spell out and broken. And there's still 25 seconds left. The B-bomb site will be the site that they look to commit on to. Hobbit's the only player nearby to really truly defend it. And Rez has snuck past nafany. He's a dead man walking. Rez finds the frag. 15 on the clock. And Rez wants to try straight fast. Find the player. Boosts it up. Will be able to get the trade. And with just the 11 seconds left, they will have the bomb plant. Rez even goes and finds a third in the meanwhile. CT is just not safe. What a fantastic run coming out from him.
Yeah, and the perfect lurk there from Config. You know, Rez able to pick up the slack as well. A secondary player with Config who has predominantly been alone when he's gone for those probes. Shiro now has to be a hero if Cloud9 want to round out this half with 8. Has a kit and a couple flashes, but a Molotov, or just the fact that he's got 3 Ts to deal with and having an AWP in hand is so difficult to crack into this nut, and it feels like NiP are going to be picking pistachios all the way to the bank. It is an 8th round at the very least from NiP on their T side. We'll see whether or not that second half has anything good in store for them, or whether Cloud9 come back. We'll be back after a break. Oh.
Wow. We are
I've just been informed that I was wrong. There is no break. It's all gas.
We lied to you multiple times. We're off to a break.
Oh
See you
my
in a bit.
goodness. Well, to break or not to break, that is the question. And the question is, as well, whether either of these teams will bend moving into the second half. Right now, about as close as can be. 8-7, NiP just barely rounding out with 8 on T. And now a Cloud9 approach over towards this B-bomb site. Rez alone here in the pistol and spotted out nice and early. NiP stays stoic in their foray start.
Question is, will be they making a foray back to the B-bomb site? Because grenades shouldn't be finding much at all, because Cloud9 does not want to take the lead alongside with it. Rez is emptying out his magazine, and in the meanwhile, Hobbit and Brolin already starting off the fight. The grenade being lined and prepped up for the bomb plant. Actually, like that quite a bit. That's a huge amount of damage. Buster and Shiro worse for wear, and can't be feeling happy about that one, but the retake is on. They've a flash of smoke and a kit for Alexi. Rez is gone in the meanwhile. Config wants to take a stand, but he's not. Shiro's still alive. Flashbang to try and push him into coffins, but by that time they've already abandoned it. A 4-on-4 where the T's have got so much space to fall back on and go for a fadeaway shot or two. Config wants to take the lead. Buster has already taken the knee. And Axel still backed away in a new box. Is supposed to be the insurance policy. Headtrick is there. They're pushing through. The bomb diffuser is gone, and so's their chances of winning this round. Headtrick, a single HP, and even that won't be allowed to stay.
Yeah, Shiro will go out with the bomb, but the mission accomplished. Just being able to get that diffuser off of it. NiP having that man advantage, unable to capitalize on it. Knew they needed to increase their vulnerability by getting and sticking that diffuse. That was their best opportunity to do so. Just couldn't sneak it by. And a great execute there from Cloud9, recognizing that it was a solitary man over it being, even with those nades, you know, there was an extra one dropped over for Rez. You know, he's trying to tank and throw those 2 nades over. Just chewing up these unarmored players. Still not enough. Well, that is a sight to behold. I don't think I've ever seen a player peek down middle and the player inside of the underground there is just looking the wrong direction. And no one's holding for it either. I mean, that's just that must have just looked so odd from Hedrick's point of view.
Are the models glitching? Why is he looking at me?
What are they doing? Why is he not? Why is he looking there?
Well, I'm sure he got his attention with the head being taken down. Buster, though, will get the trade. Smoke to differentiate and segment off of pit. It's going to be a ISO focus back onto the bomb site. Config, though, still a chance given to himself as Alexi beats on Axel. Now pushing through. Alexi's got 2. Buster and Shiro now left to try and clean up the pieces. Shiro's got a Molotov that he doesn't feel comfortable pulling out, so he's effectively got no util whatsoever. Grenade will find nothing. Buster will find one more. And it's back to the 2-on-2. Rez and Config trying to push through. Config coming in for the creep forward. Rez spots him out. Shiro swaps it out, and he's gone for the underground push for Config into the grave. Rez, 18's all he's got, and he's getting so many tags out. So much damage, but just not the round NiP. A hairline. Well, that's all it takes for C9 to be able to take it home.
Oh my god, such a hectic round as well. Never dealing with Config, and then suddenly Shiro's getting wrapped in from both sides. Has a good read that that is exactly what's happening, because Buster can hold very little from his position, very much a known quantity. But as soon as Shiro missed the jump, cold zero, Config comes out swinging, expecting him to be there, because that's where the comms break down. NiP called that he jumped up, but he didn't fully commit, and suddenly he was looking high when Shiro was swinging low. Very weird, small details like that can make all the difference when it comes to those peaks, because that looked like NiP were about to steal that round away.
Yeah, I mean, with Alexi's double, it definitely did seem there was nothing left to truly offer.
Yeah.
Offers. Config offered up a Galil, one that he is more than happy to retrieve. And now is going to be welcomed by a party at A. Has to try fight back, but Shiro comes and finds his behind instead. Kicks him down, and there you have it.
Yeah, might have won the battle, but lost the war there. Config was grinning, I'm sure, thinking he got away with that rifle, only to then get swarmed by a flurry of SMGs. They had 3 this round on Cloud9. They knew what the economy was looking like. So Shiro will continue to farm up some extra cash. 3 for him on the MAC-10. So money's looking real nice and padded for him in particular. Survived the 2-on-2. then able to, you know, transition to the SMG, you know, he's satisfied. You know, when they move into this first buy, they'll be able to get out that ult no problem. Still just sticking with it. And a severe absence of head armor. NiP going with a lot of utility. Headtrick's AWP as well will be presence that they hope to attain early. It took a while before Shiro got activated on his ult.
I feel like that's just the wrong utility over towards the B car. They mollied and they smoked their own molly off. Well, whatever. Can't see it, so can't be sure. Meanwhile, though, can't see a train. It is going right to the grave. Apartments, more like a burial ground. Right now, Config and Alexi just cleaning it all up. It's funeral services for 4.
Is there a rifle in his path? Well, it's right there. But he's going to make noise to pick it up. And Headtrick, a watchful eye on it. So there should be another buy in the tank here from Cloud9. That was their bonus, but... you know, Shiro's got 10k, but he might have to drop an AK over, and suddenly the extra money that he had will dissipate very quickly.
It's like payday with the boys.
Territory. You gotta do what you can.
Yeah.
You know, support the crew around you.
Hey guys, I just got paid. Well, I've got like a bit of hunger in my tummy. And Buster. Now it's up to him to try and reward Shiro for feeding him that AK. Axel will be the first one to be able to try and take charge if they want to continue down the path of Banana. This is still a much more B-sided focus from NiP this time over. They've been deprioritizing early contention of Banana regardless. Headtrick's going to be stationed in here. Axel peeks forward. Tag is there, but it's to the leg or through the wall. Either way, he's still alive and lucky for the matter.
Smoking towards Library, and that Molotov is good. It will force Hobbit forward. They know that they are being chased. Alexi tried to get away, but Hobbit does well to track him down, and now trying to take short control. Config, Shiro not prepared for it, and that's bomb spotted and dropped.
Config and Brolin, this crossfire is a nightmare. Axel should at the very least be able to have something to add to the conversation over here. Maybe even more than just one could be set up for Axel. Knows there's an op coming in from behind, and the question is, what is it covering off? Headtrick turns around, goes back. The B-bomb side there is where he goes. But Axel turned around himself. Will not be able to find Rez before Buster falls. Rez with the full push through. Axel, this position given up in 10 seconds is all they've got left. With another demise, this has to be a safe call. Surely they can't be looking to try and commit. It gets so late in the round, I'm surprised they even contest with a third.
Yeah, just very, very split and very divided here on this T side. Cloud9, you know, they get that first kill in the brackets and in through long, but they don't really do a lot with that space. You know, they take over that territory, but suddenly then Shiro has to worry about getting flanked, you know, has to worry about the apartments. Could have even been getting, I think, flanked through the apartments. There were just so many angles he had to be worried about, and then it's Config's push on short that ultimately does him in. It felt like there were just a number of different ways that he could have lost that fight. Not exactly putting in a lot of contingencies, but this Shiro AWP might just be the pry bar they need. First kill found, Headtrick gone, and nafany could even try and take over that weapon as well. They vacated that territory rather quickly. And sure, T-side double up ain't great, but when you're coming in with pistols, you'll take what you can get.
Especially because you do feel like a player like Shiro, a player like Axel, I personally completely trust him to be able to even just hard scope forward around angles. It's something Robs occasionally did on mouse sports, funnily enough. If he was dropped an op or if he was able to pick it up, sometimes he would just hard scope all the way through apartments back to brackets and just find a random kill out there because you're just not expecting an op to do something like it. Meanwhile, Jiro just got one for free. Alexi trying to fight back. There's two through the smoke. He could collect a bomb, but the double swing is there. Shiro has found the frag, and with that, the round is gone as well. Alexi may be a window present, but not one he is able to climb through.
Yeah, what can you do? I mean, you lose all your A-side presence like that, res the solitary B anchor. And while he does find Hobbit running a lurk, trying to maybe even catch a res off guard on his save attempt, they're even expecting that this AWP got thrown out of the map over towards Banana, but little does he know, they actually utilized it on their hit. Just making extra sure that it cannot be recovered. They'd have to rebuy it if they want it. And they shouldn't have the funds to do so. So a great round there from Cloud9. A pulled together off of what is a force buy around those saved weapons. It wasn't exactly the prettiest thing the round prior to put them in this circumstance, but making up for it, making up for lost time. Actually, they can squeak out an AWP. Berlin should be able to buy it for him.
I have to say, not been that much that he's been able to add to the conversation with the op, though. And, you know, like you mentioned, Shiro takes a while to speed up as well. But unfortunately, he's now in 5th gear, and Headtrick still kind of cruise control. Whereas, though, this man does not bruise. This man is going to end up with a few bruises, actually. I thought he had that any day of the week, but just flubs the spray.
Yeah, a bruise missile. Oh. Good timing on the smoke. Berlan, there's a player that's trying to cheat ahead of it. nafany just creeping round, and they're ready to flash through, but nafany even creeping through to CT smoke. This is mad. They double push, they get hyper aggressive, and now suddenly he's on a flank in B. They are none the wiser.
He literally went through between the two of them. No collisions whatsoever either. That's insane. He's threaded the needle, and now the needle is going back towards the A bomb site. And it's nafany to strike once, nafany to look twice. It's Config who shuts it down. So still a player on the bomb site. Alexi giving up a chance. This MP9 is going to be getting dirty over here. Looks for the bomb. Should be able to get it. Runs a freebie. It's a guarantee. B. Alexi B is going to be the baby of the B bomb site. Goes ahead and just crushes them all. Not noticed in the slightest, but despite everything that he's able to find, Config's demise just means that they will still end up forfeiting the round. Both IGLs having such sneaky plays, but neither being the reason why the round was won or lost.
And both of them making critical mistakes on their opportunities. You know, especially when you have this chance, this wide open chance for nafany to flank. You know, especially you're gonna pull off a flank like it. Play trigger discipline. Like, that would have gone so far in terms of shutting the round out. And then Alexi, you know, if he's not gonna get cleared by the first player and that bomb planter isn't gonna go for it, please take the rifle out first, you know, try and find a way in which you can get a multi-kill. It felt like they should have gotten more from both their spots.
I like to get an MP9.
No, I know, but there was a rifle. Hobbit was like clearing the site and holding
Fair.
construction, you know, find that kill first and then get the planter because he can't pull the gun out fast.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yes. Sorry, I thought you meant something. I got it. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. It's all good. It felt like there should have just been way more punishment on both flanks, basically.
Config
wasn't even a flank.
Maybe he can get a kill or two with the Eagle. Who knows? No, never mind. Chiro knows. That's who knows. Yeah, Hedrick's gone as well. There's nothing. I have to say, Cloud9, Inferno was supposed to be their biggest hurdle that they should not be able to beat past, but they've been getting a bit more dynamic as well now that the confidence is piling up and NiP's weaknesses are starting to show here and now on the CT side. I think Brolin, I mean, honestly, other than Config and at times Rez, no one else really seems to be having any impact.
Yeah, it's been I think been a conversation with NiP. You know, it's part of why I brought it up earlier. These three rifling stars on NiP that once upon a time were with, you know, I mean, Rez has been with NiP for quite some time, but Berlan, Config on different rosters did the Lord's work on those rosters as well.
Yeah.
You know, fantastic players individually, but it's just been hard to I guess, facilitate or bring each other up to that standard all on the same team. You know, it's why projects like FaZe Clan, for example, took many different iterations to find success, because that was very much the mantra of, like, let's just pick up a bunch of stars and then an in-game leader to try and sort it all out. Like, this is weirdly in line with what NiP have done to a certain degree. You know, they're trying to find a star opener in Head Trick, they're trying to bring Burla and Config all up to pace, and yeah, some will succeed, but others, it just feels like we don't see that activation all at the same time. And now Rez, one of those players you were talking about, just bombarded by nades. Burlan will at least make up for a lost comrade in finding a trade.
Problem is the lack of Archer's control means that Brolin is forced to rotate. Smoke Wally to fight for brackets, or at least pretend like they're doing so. Hetrick needs to find something, but the flashes are great. He is just forced off, and now the re-peek over means Shiro's on the other side, but Shiro doesn't really look like he's necessarily holding for the angle the same way. Hetrick's fadeaway comes at the timing where he now has to be careful about the boost up. Buster does get taken down. Hetrick with a fantastic flick and a Molotov to keep them at bay. Rotation still not here. He knows that there are more players behind. That was literally a boost up. Flashes to fly through. Hetrick to dodge him out. And another frag found. Hobbit, the casualty, and a flashbang to keep Shiro out of the bomb site. He's the one with the bomb, don't forget. So nafany taking the charge and leading into the smoke is just another casualty. Hetrick, fantastic round from him coming through. Shiro, though, given a chance before the flashbang bloomed and just cannot find the kill.
Yeah, a fantastic just handling of the situation there from Hetrick. Under pressure in a number of those peaks, just be able to dance around and keep himself preserved, and you know, even waited out for some extra utility, waited for other players to take contact. Just able to just fully pick apart that whole C9 idea. Buying down into the dredges. Cloud9 full buy, sure, but missing out on some critical utility as well. Will certainly limit their options if they want to, you know, threaten banana control, threaten brackets as well. By the time you get to a bomb site, you'll have one smoke, one flash. This will be part of the fear for them. Retake util.
Oh no.
Ugh. Smoke didn't bloom where nafany wanted it to, and in fact just bounced exactly where that retake smoke was destined to go for NiP as well. Just helping him out.
Oh. Okay.
I can't tell if that's an intentional bait,
That has to be
or
intentional. He's so far away from
missed the
barrels.
jump. I've got stuck on a clipping or something.
I
You know,
don't-
it could sometimes happen.
I don't know about that. It seems... maybe it's intentional. Who knows? Util being primed and prepped. Brolin does have a flashbang. When the smoke dissipates, Rez could look to try and push through a new smoke, but instead just goes for the one... yikes, that's not a one, right? That's just a gap. Flash forward. Brolin wants to take the peek. nafany's gone. Got another Molotov as well, so scaling onto this bomb set's going to be impossible, or at least near to it. Buster still lurking back in the apartments, will have nothing to add to the conversation. One that is now extended. Exile wants to keep on talking 15 seconds, but might be sent walking. Rez on the back of the bomb site shows off his elbow, and his head's going to be soon to fall. Alexi trying to move back over. Shiro's found the frag. That's so fast. Right back to the 2-on-2.
So key, and they've got a lot of util to make this work. They've got a kit available as well here on NiP, but this kill could just decide it all. Head trick, deep CT, so split, and that AWP primed on him. Shiro's got it on lock, and now suddenly Config's the last man standing, and he's calling it quits. He doesn't want that heat. Cloud9 with another round on B, and it's this combo between these riflers in Axile and Shiro that bail them out.
I mean, some of those entries from Axel were insane. I thought Rez had that for sure, but the fact that he jiggle peeks out with just his shoulder initially, it's a bit of a mystery to the situation and is heavily punished for it. No money for NiP either to be able to try and stop Cloud9 from just getting the map point.
Yeah, this is a real problematic spot to be in now. And you know, this isn't something that we've sort of touted NiP with it being able to get away with, is, you know, these crazy half buys. You know, pistol work can, you know, I mean, they almost pulled one off earlier this half, but almost don't cut it. Lead round wins, and Cloud9 are close to a finish.
And of course, in case anyone is tuning in, do remember NiP did pick into Inferno in hopes of being able to counter out Cloud9. So far, that's not been something that they've been able to do. And now they are spread across the map. 2-0-3 setup. They aren't necessarily giving themselves the best of chances if they want to try and play it out normally, although there is the head stack for Config to try and peek out over. Some room to make a play off of that, potentially. "45 seconds. Flash is ready. They want to find the frag, but the Molotov is just too good. They're able to find Config regardless of the smoke that was thrown by Rez later on into it. Are they aware that Rez is still around the corner, though, is the question. nafany trying to spray inside it. Rez moves back to the corner where it's a little bit been spotted, but nafany doesn't know. He's hidden behind the pillar. Rez peeks out forward, now will fall. Didn't have armor anyhow, so it was going to be difficult, and now it's just 257s, neither one of which have a chance to really find anything here.
Yeah, Brolin spotted as well, and just trying to hunt for some extra damage if he can find it, but his exit is already secured into the next round. Hedrick didn't even make it his way over, just unable to get anything done. No quick kill coming out from the pistols, the rifle did not succeed, and if none of that's going to line up for you, then there was no way you're able to overturn this. Cloud9 keeping it nice and clean to get to a 15th round. They'll build up a nice little buffer, so it will have to be a comeback for NiP to force OT. As we just move into Vertigo and then overpass to follow if even needed. No survivors, no extra armor, no safety, and critically, there will be no head armor, maybe an absence of kits on this NiP squad. Just need to lock down the bomb sites. I like a 3B start here. Try and take some advantage. Try and move in for some kind of control over a banana, but yeah, that nade is chunky. All three of them tanking it, and that changed the plan immediately from NiP. They didn't want to continue cheating forward based on that.
Oh, Hedrick's even gone and found nafany. Despite the grenade, nafany was maybe even just feeling like he'd be giving up a lot more space to work off of with how defensive NiP has been at times, but Hedrick is there ready and waiting. Even moves back and switches out with Broland, so the A bomb site will be once again populated by the upper. Broland, though, does have only one smoke, and you've got a Molotov on Rez, so this is very much a site that can be attacked around that 30-second mark. Needs to give that smoke over. Rez. They will not be prioritizing the smoke to be used out for the banana redeployment, and that could be something that comes back to bite them. Buster is lining up for a CT push through smoke, and that would be the perfect play to actually counter out the new box boost with, if that is what they end up going for. Molotov now out for Rez. Smoke has been retrieved as well. Buster's got another one ready and waiting. And this A bomb site players are still just not moving. Buster's gone back towards CT. Axel has gone. Brolin maintains position. Shiro does not want to contend. And as Buster actually goes for the wraparound back in through Coffin, the question is who's watching out for it? Is Rez keeping an eye out over there? Does look like that should be the case, but no. Even he's going to be focused into CT. Hedrick's covering up the cross, so the bomb has been dropped. There shouldn't be time, and it's 15 where Cloud9 will be contained to for now. NiP. Can they find this last kill after time? No, not quite.
No success in doing so, but keeping it clean the round prior will certainly help Cloud9 moving forward. A great setup from NiP, and especially with the time peeling away from them in that last round, Cloud9 were in a really rough position. Even with Buster being able to accomplish that flank, you could see they just knew they needed to get that bomb down. Didn't even try and clear for a secondary man. Didn't have an extra smoke as well for the cross. So it's all about resource management. You know, those late round scenarios for Cloud9 can be quite devastating if they don't feel, or they've not got the right players in the right spots. Actually secure the site. And you know, we were saying earlier, it took a while for Shiro to come online. Head trick, definitely now up and running. This AWP has had some very high impact rounds now that they've moved on to CT. He's been able to get a series of multi-kills over on this B-bomb site as well. It's been critically important.
Oops.
Oh, wow. What is the timing on that? Alexi just trying to throw a nade on the mid control.
Hobbit's even gone and lurked through Bolden on the other side. Who's going to be clocking here? It's all about that Hobbit versus Brolin matchup, but he doesn't know his config is over, coming in from behind. Config knows where Hobbit is over at Library. Catches him out. Axel's finding them getting aggressive, and Head Trick around the corner can find nothing as well, but Config's still here. A chance given up. They're all coming over to his bomb site, but C9 will persevere and overrun him regardless. The sheer manpower that they had is enough, and Cloud9 will find 16.
Yeah, fantastic work on that last round as well. But that's some of the individual firepower of this Cloud9 roster. Very individually driven, very individually focused, very spread out in a default. And as soon as Hobbit finds that kill, just, you know, explored and